This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com. What is up, Janksters? It's your boy Graham, also known as HamHawks42 on the internet, and today we have a fun user-submitted deck. This is by our new patron, Bunyip. So Bunyip, thank you so much for joining the Patreon, and thank you for sending in this deck for today's edition of Play Q Nonsense. This is a really fun build, and this is one that I actually toyed around with a little bit in the early access. Sorry also if my delivery is a little off. Here in southern Michigan right now, it is well over 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and I am actively melting, and I don't currently have air conditioning, so I'm really feeling it. If there's a little bit of a glisten, a little bit of a glow going on, that's the story. So I probably need to get a window AC unit hooked up. I have one, it's in the garage right now, but we're in that weird zone where I just haven't hooked it up yet. Anyway, so it's on me, it's all my fault, but that's the case. So anyway, sorry, that has nothing to do with this, except that might explain my current energy level. We're doing Grixis, Spellslinger, kind of. What we're really doing is a combo here. And this is, similar to something that I was tinkering around with in early access, and you may have seen, other creators doing stuff with it, because it's kind of a fun, goofy setup. And it's built around Explosive Singularity. Explosive Singularity is a really fun card that it just does 10 damage to any target, which is an obscene amount of damage. And any time a burn spell deals an obscene amount of damage, it has to have an obscene cost. That's just part of the deal. And as a result, it's not in every single deck. This has effectively Convoke. It's not actually keyworded as Convoke. It says as an additional cost to cast a spell, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control, and it costs one less to cast for each creature tapped this way. Because Kamigawa was not a set where Convoke was a thing, so they didn't just keyword it Convoke. Sure, fine, whatever. But I think it functions slightly differently, but for basic intents and purposes, it's Convoke. So it's 8 red, although, you can't, with Convoke, you can pay colored pips. With this one, you cannot. So you have to have at least 2 red actual mana in order to make this work. And so, okay, 10 damage is a lot of damage. So what do we do with that? Because the truth of the matter is, that's only half our opponent's life total. We need to do something else. Well, the goal is to double it with things like Chandra, Hope's Beacon, or this deck actually has some really interesting tech in Invasion of Vryn. Invasion of Vryn is kind of a weird card. It's a 4-drop that when it ETBs, you draw 3 cards and then discard a card. So it puts a permanent on the battlefield and you go up 2 cards in hand with a little bit of selection, and you put one in your yard, which could be beneficial in some cases. So it's a weird card. For 4 mana, it doesn't really impact the board state in a meaningful way. And you're not hurting your opponent directly with it. So this is a card that I see a lot of benefit in like various commander situations. Like I have this in a commander deck that I'm really hoping to take out in the not too distant future that I just recently built. But you don't see it often in 60-card competitive formats. Well, the reason that it's in this deck specifically is it helps us find our combo pieces. So for 4-drop, we can go find our combo pieces, hopefully, which helps. But on the backside, the overloaded Mage Ring, we have the ability to pay 1 tap, sack it, and copy target spell you control. And you may choose new targets for the copy. So if we can get an Explosive Singularity onto the stack in one way or another, we can sacrifice the overloaded Mage Ring, flip it, and all of a sudden double the Explosive Singularity. Tap, tap, we call it good with the opponent, and that's awesome. We also have the Hidetsugu and Kairi in here. If you're not familiar with this combo, it is delightful. Hidetsugu and Kairi is a 5/4 that says when it dies, you exile the top card of your library. If it's an instance, then target opponent loses a life, you go to the mana value. That happens regardless. But if it's an instant or sorcery, you get to play it for free. So the idea is you get Hidetsugu and Kairi down. You then, and it brainstorms when it ETBs. You set the Explosive Singularity on top of your deck, and then Hidetsugu and Kairi have to die somehow. I've done it with sack outlets. We also have things like Burn on the House here. But you set the Explosive Singularity on top of your deck. You then get Hidetsugu and Kairi to die, and then all of a sudden, you just free spin the Explosive Singularity straight into your opponent's face. And because the Explosive Singularity's mana value is also 10, Hidetsugu and Kairi will dome your opponent for 10 before the spell resolves, which domes them for another 10. Again, double tap, pop, pop, we get the thing going. Life is good. Sulfum also doubles damage that sources we control are dealing, so sick, non-combat damage that is, which disqualifies. So if we can get Sulfum out and then fire an Explosive Singularity, life is good. We've made it happen. We have Cormela in this list as well as a way of ramping. It adds an additional 2 mana effectively for us, which is great. And When Cormela dies, we can grab an instant resource from our graveyard, load it back up to hand. And you'll note, Explosive Singularity is far from the only valuable instant and or sorcery we have in this thing. I mentioned Burn Down. We have Big Score, which is another great way to help us ramp and find our pieces. Brotherhood's End keeps us alive against those pesky aggro decks. And then we also have Lightning Strike and Play with Fire. It is not an accident that the removal package in the early game in this deck are burn spells. That allows us to not only eliminate our opponent's attackers that are coming in to kill us, but additionally, it allows us to soften up our opponent's life total if we have to. Like, if we have a Play with Fire in hand and 1 mana to burn, especially if we're trying to, like, make sure we hit a land drop or something like that, doming our opponent for 2 can be beneficial. If they have any kind of life gain, a double tap Explosive Singularity isn't going to do it on its own. And so this is a way for us to kind of soften them up. And if we hit enough of these, if we hit enough little pot shots at our opponent's face in the early game, 1 Singularity might be enough to do the job. It's a little dirty. We don't get to do the fun thing we're hoping for, but if it works, it works. If that helps us get to where we got to go, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. Otherworldly Gaze is also really cool. Make sure we hit our land drops in the early game, and it helps load the top of our deck. If Hidetsugu and Kairi find themselves in a combat situation where they know they're going to die, we can use Otherworldly Gaze to, like, sequence the top of our deck perfectly to make sure that a Singularity is on it, locked and loaded, ready to go. So if we don't know that we have a Singularity, Otherworldly Gaze can help us go find one. And if we do know we have a Singularity, but maybe it's like the second one and not the top, that can help us get it there, which is pretty nice. Consider also, it just helps. Now, this isn't going to help us load the top of our library because we'll draw whatever's left. But it helps us see more cards, and it's cheap. So it effectively makes our deck smaller, which is exactly what we need. So this is a cool build. It's a fun idea. I like it a lot. Let's run it out and see if we can win a couple of games with it in the play queue to see if we can do the thing and do the double taps. I honestly think Chandra, Hope's Beacon, supercharging some of these burn, like, we're probably going to win games just getting Sulfim and Chandra down and then just, like, double up 6-hit lightning strikes. Like, that can win you a game on its own if we can survive long enough to get there. So I don't know, that's pretty fun, right? And if you enjoy this, please like and subscribe. It makes a huge difference. I cannot express how important those are to the YouTube algorithm and to keep me doing what I'm doing. And if you have decks that you would like to feature, you can do so on my Twitch stream, actually. I would love to see you over there, twitch.tv/hamhawks42. We do an event every week called Tuesday Brews Day. We actually have a third-party extension where we have a list of user-submitted decks, and people can vote on which ones they want to see next. And I go through a bunch of those, and on our live streams on Tuesdays, we play user-submitted decks. If you want your deck featured here, that is something that we can do as well if you join the Patreon. So there's a link tree in the description below that'll send you over to the Patreon, and at the $10 a month level, once per month, I will feature your deck on this channel. So just plug. With that, let's get into some gameplay and let's see what we can do with this thing. All right, I mean, we have 3 lands, and Plaza of Heroes can help us get Cormela down. I'm going to keep this, and I'm probably going to regret it, because if we don't have Cormela down, we don't even have a single red source, so hitting Brotherhood's End on time is going to be, like, almost impossible. So this is a super sketchy keep. Super sketchy keep. All right, we need to find some red sources post-haste in order to get some playables. That is a card that needs the red sources. So deck, that's almost what I was looking for, but by almost, I mean kind of exactly not what I was looking for. Hey, you know what? That's a card that can help us find the various and sundry things that we actually are looking for. I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop on the opponent's end step, make sure that doesn't go by. And we're going to gaze in an otherworldly fashion. So this resolves. We're gonna get kind of slapped around a little bit. Pop. We end up on the end step. I'm going to gaze in another worldly fashion. Let's go. I mean, we need land in order to play Cormela. But we need red land is the problem. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this, but I do not feel good about it. Cormela is notably a 2/4. That's really nice. All right, tight. No attacks. We're gonna sit back on D. Yeah, she survives Brotherhood's End. Plaza of Heroes can out tap for red, assuming she survives, which is, like, frankly not likely. I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop on my upkeep like right away so we can flashback Otherworldly Gaze before we draw anything to make sure we find a red source. Because yeah, that's pretty important. That said, actually, if Cormela survives, we could use her to ramp up and we'll be okay. Cruelty, okay. Observe. Go ahead and discard that Hidetsugu and Kairi and make me a little sad. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and draw it. I would say never punished, but we were mildly punished. We can gaze in an otherworldly fashion, as I want to do. That's a big ol' nope. Celestivus is not bad. This is dicey. You know, I'm gonna keep big score. I'm gonna keep big score up top. And I'm gonna do this. Probably should have done this first. Oh well, c'est la vie. We have the strike, so I'm just gonna punch. Yep. They want that treasure anyway, so alright. Lovely. You're welcome, opponent. You're welcome. I wanted the 3 power off the board, so here we are. Alright, so they're gonna go Grim Tutor. Not unlike a champ. I don't love seeing that, not gonna lie, but there's also not a frickin' thing I can do about it, so here we are. And in our graveyard, there is the Hidetsugu and Kairi, so at the very least, they have access to that. Yeah, I don't love Shelly. Burn down the house answers, Sheldred. That's something. You know what? I'm just going to dome them real quick. Pop! Because we can. Let's go ahead and draw. We have an opportunity to score big here. Or we'll just burn it down. If we just burn it down, then they're going to get... They're just probably going to get Sheldred back with Cruelty of Gix, which honestly is not that big of a deal. Or they grab my Hidetsugu and Kairi. I'm just going to do it. We're just going to do it. And then I'm going to grab up, burn down the house, have it back locked and loaded. Because, you know, feeling like that's what we need to do here. So my plan this next turn is to big score, dump one of the bros ends, and then maybe spend the treasure to drop Celestis, assuming we hit an untapped land, which is a pretty sizable assumption, to be fair. But yeah, they got the Hidetsugu and Kairi live. That is not ideal. And they got all the mana in the world, too. Yep, they breached. Dang it. They're not going to get much out of us. I mean, they hit one of our better hits already. But they did just brainstorm, load their deck up. So yeah, they got Solvim and Shelly. That is mucho bad. But we just topped. We just topped a land, which is good. Unfortunately, we don't have a red legend. So we only have one red source. We can't burn this whole thing down, which we desperately need to do right now. So yeah, we're honestly just dead here. There is nothing we can do at this point, I don't believe. But I'm going to dig a little bit and hope. You know what? Nah, we're just going out on your Shelly triggers, opponent. Although I got to say, our opponent at least has... They've been doing something a little different, so kudos to that, I suppose. Alright. Yes, cheers, opponent. But, Breach. Breach is good. Turns out their setup was a little bit different, but the Rakdos Breach list, I mean, this is definitely like a budget Rakdos Breach. You know, the Rocking Corpse Explosion, we got Thrill of Possibility, Vampire's Vengeance. Like, this is a new list, and like I'm kind of cool with that. Riveteers Requisitioner is also neat tech now that Fable's banned. So, kudos, opponent. GG's. I love Lightning Strike. I can't deny my appreciation for Lightning Strike. There's even an animation on my my Twitch channel showing off Lightning Strike. So I can't turn down a 3-land hand with 3 Lightning Strikes. I can't. I'm not made of stone. I mean, come on. This is a terrible hand. You know, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. But we're going up against green. We're going up against green. Okay, tight. So green is gonna be. This is probably where Quarian. Oh no, Llanowar Lumpspeaker. Okay, that is a very boltable bird. I noticed. And we're saying, wait a minute, Llanowar Lumpspeaker, that's not a bird. It's like, well, when you got something that looks like a bolt, everything looks like a bird, is what it is. I'm a bolt that bird. So the Evolving Adaptive, if they can play 2 creatures, which is highly unlikely now that Argoth just came down tapped. Yeah, so this is gonna, oh, that's right, it only bumps up if the power of the thing is higher. Tight. All right, cool. Another Singularity, not helpful here. That's okay. So I'm sitting on 2 lightning strikes. Depending on what comes down, we're gonna strike one of these 2. Oddity. All right, I think we blast. So this is gonna come down. This is gonna become a 3/3. We're gonna smack for 7, or we can kill the Gala Greeters and we cut off potential value. What's more important? You know what? I'm gonna lose. They have the opportunity to get a treasure token here, which I wouldn't love. And that Oddity being a 4/4 is just, it's outside of strike range. I don't like that. I don't like when my opponent plays stuff that's outside of strike range. All right. I should wait. Nope. 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 Honestly, none of those are things we need. Yeah. So I'm just gonna hold up that other lightning strike. We're not in a great spot here. We're not in a great spot. Which is funny because I was commenting, you know, I was saying I was pretty excited because lightning strike, a handful, you know, a fistful of lightning strikes against mono green could be a really cool spot to be in. Could be. At this point, it's way not. I don't hate that card, but I don't think it gives us what we want here. Honestly, this doesn't really either, because it's just a chump blocker. Yeah, because if they attack with both this turn, we have to put Cormela in front of Poly K, which just gives us back, you know, a big score? I guess you could pull big score back. That's not nothing, but like I just binned it last turn. Like, this doesn't feel good. If they have any kind of bite or fight, we're just dead. And honestly, they probably do. Yeah, mono green is in kind of a cool spot right now. It's not a like super competitive, but it's one of those decks. It is a jank tester. If you go up against mono green in standard right now, it is going to like, or they just drop Nissa and it doesn't. None of it matters. All right, tight. But it's a jank tester, meaning that like it will put you on a clock. No matter what, it will absolutely establish a clock. You need to be able to survive and interact in some way for a handful of turns. Like it'll test you and make sure you can do this. And if you can't, it's donezo. And we donezo here, I think. Cause yeah, we have Solfin, but we don't have any wipes. So yeah. So yeah, it's very straightforward. It puts down power, punches you with the power. If you can't survive that power, you're done. And that was the case here, unfortunately. All good. It was a bad keep. So far, I've played 2 games with this. Both of them were bad keeps. That's on me. Hopefully, I will learn my lesson for the next one. All right, so we've got double Singularity in the opening hand. If we can get to Celestis, we can then ramp into big score and possibly hit a Singularity, and hopefully we'll have some kind of doubler down by then. I don't know. I'm probably banking a little too much on this third land draw, because if it doesn't show up, we're going to be up the creek. As I was just talking about how much I need to mulligan more. I'm just like, yeah, 2-lander, it'll be fine. Yeah. It's funny, like in my head, I see big score and a card I can comfortably discard to it. And I'm just like, yeah, this is great. It's not great. That's not okay. All right. So we have the Consider, we have the Lightning Strike. And again, we're going up against just a straightforward aggro deck, which is kind of our worst nightmare. Unless we can draw into a wipe. That's kind of the only way we're going to do this, I think. Alright, so if this is... So if we check the top deck here on the consider, and it is anything other than a land or a Brotherhood's End, it's going in the bin. That simple. Because we just need a land. Consider... If I had another blue open right now, I probably would just run this, but... I need to take a look at one more card. Land, perfect. Brotherhood's End? Aw, oh, man. That would have been too good to be true. Alright. So last of us for the rest of us. Let's go. And we got 2 lands in a row, so that's good. I like that. All right. We definitely need to find some kind of wipe though. This is kind of terrifying where we're at right now. That said, they only have 2 lands. So if we can hit a Brotherhood's End, if they do miss their land drop here, which they do, sick. You'll love to see it. Yes, I would love to take action. Keep it moving. Let's keep on going. I certainly don't need 2 of these. Let's keep it moving. Keep on cruising. What do we got? We can throw Cormela here. And we have the 1 from Celestis. We have the 1 from Celestis, and now she's got the ability to make some mana for us, so I'm just going to chill for a sec. If they have a kill spell, in response to the kill spell, I'm going to strike down their T-Dog. Because right now they're sitting on 2 mana, so they're not blitzing T-Dog anytime soon here, and she now comes back to our hand. We have, it's a black that's floating. I wish we had... those would tap differently. That would have been nice. Oh well, because if it had been a blue, we could have considered there. That would have been dynamite. Alas, here we are. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, we get to gain another life, and we get to draw a discard. I'm gonna discard which card? Discard. Discard Pain Land. And that Shivan Reef is probably gonna go to the big score next turn. It's kind of my thought. All right. Dragon adds for 3, so be it. Oh, it's currently daytime. Now it's nighttime. Let's go. Man, Celeste's doing some work over here. You'll have to see it. Oh! We have 2 blue. We have a black. It's a pain land, but that's okay. All right. All right. And we got another Singularity. This is looking good. Hidetsugu and Kairi. I'm gonna put 2 Explosive Singularities on the top of our deck. If they have a kill spell, they need to do it before we resolve the break. They need to do it now. If they do it now, we can't set up the top of our deck. And then we're at the whim of whatever it is. Oh, they're gonna let us do it. I'm put 2 Singularities on top, doesn't matter what order. And the Battlefly Swarm can gain Death Touch. So I'm truly hopeful that our opponent does not know how this works, or they just do it. We win the game here now. Boom, Hidetsugu and Kairi. Free casting Explosive Singularity off the top. Pop, got him. Yes. Win of our opponent casting murder. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's what this deck's trying to do. Mwah. All right. So like I often do with these Patreon submissions, I did kind of tweak the deck a little bit and put my own spin on it. So this is kind of a ham version, if you will, of the list that Bunyip submitted. So if I were to tweak it, these are the changes I would make. So I tweaked it a little bit. The core is still very much the same. I think Lightning Strike fits great. Brotherhood's End is beautiful as a way to kind of hang on. Burn Down the House is also just rock solid. I did bump up Hidetsugu and Kairi from 3 to 4. I think that card is definitely worth having 4 of. And then I also have 4 Singularities because that is what we're doing, baby. We are all in on that. I did take the Invasion of Vryn out. It's a little slow and a little awkward. And instead, I put in Memory Deluge. Now, to be fair, if you free cast Memory Deluge off of Hidetsugu and Kairi, you see 0 cards. And when you can select 2 of 0 cards, you get 0 cards. So that is kind of a bummer. In that case, we would just dome our opponent for 4, but it's kind of an edge case. If we are getting Hidetsugu and Kairi online and the best we can do is put a Memory Deluge on top of our library, we have bigger problems. So I'm not too worried about that. In the meantime, it allows us to hold up instant speed interactions such as Lightning Bolt or the newly added Impulse as well to replace the Considers. And so we can hold up instant speed stuff. Oh, big score too, of course. What am I talking about? So we can hold that up, make it look like we have counter spells, even though this deck doesn't run any. Our opponents don't know that. We're in a closed deck environment. And so we can hold up counter spells. Hopefully they play around them and sandbag their plays just to buy us time. And then we just memory dealers at the end of the turn to help us find our stuff. That's the idea. Impulse is also here because we see more cards with Impulse than Consider. And 2 mana versus 1, we're not doing a ton of like really intricate, small things in the early game. So waiting to throw down, a 2 mana spell versus a 1 mana spell, I didn't see a big difference. And I thought the number of cards we see off Impulse compared to Consider is definitely worth it. So yeah, there's that. We also still have Chandra's Hope's Beacon and Sulfim because I think both of those fit this deck like a freaking glove. They're absolutely beautiful. And the other big addition, I have 2 other additions. One, Invasion of Segovia. This creates a couple of bodies. And as well as Kaitis, which gives all of our non-creature spells Convoke. If we can flip the Invasion of Segovia, we may need to leverage a Lightning Strike to do it. But if we can flip Segovia, we then give everything effectively Convoke. So all of a sudden we're convoking our big scores, we're convoking Chandra out. Doesn't help our creatures, but that's okay. Note 2, if you convoke Memory Deluge, you also see 0 cards. So that's, or as few cards as, if you convoke with 2 creatures and 2 mana, you only see 2 cards. So you would just draw 2 cards. But sometimes that still might be worth it. You would still be drawing 2 cards. In any event, so that's Segovia. I think it's decent. I think it could be a decent fit. So I figured, hey, why not try it as a 2 of? The other one that I do think, this one I really do stand by, is Ayara, Widow of the Realm. I think this card is actually really clutch with this particular combo setup. Now, Ayara Furnace Queen, the back half, is not great in this particular build, which as a result we don't need to worry about transforming her. We're really just leveraging the front phase because Ayara has the ability to tap, sacrifice another creature or artifact. She deals X damage to target opponent or battle and you gain X life, where X is the sacrificed permanent's mana value. And what that means is if we have Hidetsugu and Kairi online, so if we have a Singularity in our hand, we drop Hidetsugu and Kairi, we load the top of our deck with the Singularity, and then we can immediately tap Ayara, sacrifice Hidetsugu and Kairi, and trigger the combo. And additionally, in triggering the combo with Ayara as our sack outlet, we're adding an additional 5 damage or 5 life loss. Or no, it is damage, sorry. We're adding an additional 5 damage to the stack. So if they have gained life, we're adding it so that now we're hitting them for 25 once we've pulled off the combo. So I think that's just lovely. And it is not damage. Yeah, so it is damage and it's non-combat damage. So if we have Sulfim down, that doubles that as well. So I like Ayara. The ability to just fling directly at our opponent I think is really meaningful. And having a sack outlet online for Hidetsugu and Kairi is important. Like we saw in the last game against the Mono Black deck, the only reason we were able to execute the combo when we did is because they cast Murder on Hidetsugu and Kairi. Now in combat, I was planning on blocking the Battlefly Swarm and hoping that they gave it Death Touch. Activated it to give it Death Touch. That was my hope. It was kind of the out I was playing to, with the hopes of them not understanding the way Hidetsugu and Kairi works. But our opponent did us a favor, let us stack the deck, and then killed it. So, no complaints. In any event, this is the build. It's very similar. You'll notice it's just, I tweaked it a little bit, and I cut a little bit of what I thought of as being kind of awkward cards in this particular list. Like, Cormela is a really cool piece of tech. She's basically a mana dork that can reload an instant or sorcery out of your graveyard. Like, she's a cool card. I like her, but I found that she's a little awkward and a little slow. And the other thing is this deck isn't producing a lot of creatures for our opponents to kill. And so by the time we drop her as a 4-drop creature, they're probably going to have a go for the throat in their hand, So I just want to be kind of ready for that. Also, though, I've noticed I've increased the number of rares in the deck. So we'll see if the matchmaker puts us against more meta stuff compared to what we were seeing previously. I don't know. We'll see. Let's jump out into the ring, so to speak, and see what happens. I mean, the Xander's Lounge is pretty sweet. Impulse can help us find the red source, and then Bros End can really bring it home. So actually, as far as early interaction goes, this thing looks pretty sick. Hey, that's a red source that we can drop on turn 3, which means we can leverage our Impulse to find us something else. That's great. I like this. Ooh, and our opponent is chilling with some untapped blue mana. What you got up your sleeve, opponent? What you thinking with that blue mana? Ooh, you think you're gonna go to the end step without hitting your land drops? That seems cool by me. I would like to impulse. And if you'd like to counter this, you're more than welcome to. So if you're gonna spell pierce my impulse, hey, that's fine. I am so cool with you doing that, homie. I see zero problem with this. Zero. Because honestly, that impulse resolving was not particularly important. And knowing that our opponent is prioritizing us not hitting... Gotta be Hidetsugu and Kairi. That's the name of the game right there, baby. Let's go. Ooh, and we got 2 for good measure. We got 2. Ooh. Boy, howdy. Feels good. They're gonna get thirsty, and while they get thirsty, I'm gonna score big. Earn this card to Brotherhood's End. All right, you love to see it. Ha ha. Thank you for tapping out, opponent. I appreciate you. Cool. And so on our next turn, we're gonna be able to cast Hidetsugu and Kairi because we're gonna hit our land drop now, and we'll still have 2 mana open so that if they have a make disappear, tough luck. They hit Thirst for Discovery, discarded 2 Fading Hopes, and didn't hit their land drop. Ouch. That is a rough go, opponent. There is a very high likelihood that this gets countered. Chance of this resolving, very low. But I got 2 of them, and our opponent's having some really lousy luck. All right, so that's... Yeah, they see the writing on the wall, apparently. Missing land drops, you can't... Yeah, you can't do that. Well, we have all the lands we could ever want. And we have the big score. Because sometimes you gotta score big. It's what you do. And we have the Deluge now. Okay, cool. This is looking a little bit better. We also don't have a 3-drop. So I can throw this island here. Hold up Lightning Strike and Impulse now, which is a good draw for us. We'll have something to do this turn. Then we can play out the Xander's Lounge on their turn. All right, they have an untapped blue. They're not going to Esper. Esper, and they didn't play Rafine on 3. Interesting. All right. I think I want Sulfim here, but I'm not sure. Segovia could also be really interesting. Dang, yo. This is a shockingly tough choice. I'm gonna try Segovia. Segovia's some of the new sexy tech we put in here. Let's see if we can make it work. And we hit another untapped land, so we're gonna be able to play Big Score or Deluge next turn, which is great. And Segovia resolves. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. All right. We got our Krakens. I love the 1/1 Krakens. I love them. They make me so happy. That's my favorite token we've seen in a hot minute. Ooh, Plaza of Heroes. That ain't bad. That ain't bad. I can work with this. All right, I'm gonna swing here. No Wandering Emperor? No, well, they only have 1 white, so okay. Man, opponent, what's going on here? Why are you letting me do this? Are you a cop? All right. Lightning Strike. Does that resolve? Opponent, you have cards. You have to be able to play cards. Why are you not playing cards? You're making me really nervous. Kaitis, Sea Tyrant of Segovia. You're not gonna. Is this gonna get countered? No. So we're gonna go to the end step. We're gonna untap these. Is that about to happen? Edict. Damn it. Oh, pardon my language. Oh, that was. Bummer, yo. Bummer, yo. You know what? I'm just gonna throw the lounge. And then I want to make sure my lands are like, my mana is all set. Pop, pop. So we have the Deluge and the Big Score. I mean, it was too good to be true. There was no way they didn't have some kind of interaction. It looks like they're having some mana issues, which you hate to see it. Is it gonna get countered? We're gonna rip it. We're ripping it. Gripping it, ripping it. Like we do. Just gonna drop IR right here. This is not necessarily ideal, but if we can set up the mana efficient way to do that would have been to Big Score first, assuming it was gonna resolve, and then use the treasure to play Ayara. That would have been the optimal way to do it. Yeah. Especially because they had that. Which is so far the only spell that we've seen from their deck so far. Which is kind of wild. Do we... Well, they only have 2 mana open. And if they have another Edict, they're going to trigger our combo. So... Hidetsugu and Kairi are a go. If they have the Edict now, would actually be a good time to use it. Nope. Alright. I want to put the Singularity and Burn Down on top. I'm going to put Singularity... You know, I'm going to put Burn Down first and assume... No, Hidetsugu and Kairi are going to die before we draw another card. They have to. Alright. I'll be shocked if they don't. Alright. I'll be bummed if they don't, that's for sure. I need to make sure that I don't screw this up and I don't cast Impulse, because we're loaded right now. Alright, they got the Deserted Beach. I have no doubt that was a phenomenal draw for them. By invitation only. Cool. You're probably gonna pick 0, wipe my board, and then you die, opponent. Sick. Pop, pop. Now, they had some mana trouble, to be fair, but when you get to do the thing, it feels real good. I mean, I see 2 lightning strikes. And we see Chandra for the first time today. We have not had much luck hitting her, so I'm gonna... Alright, lightning strikes, you and me. That, and if we get a 4th mana of any kind, we're gonna be able to hit big score on time. So, hey, that's the mana of a kind. So, sick. We have lightning strikes. Opponent rocking Groll. I mean, there's a decent chance. Just kidding. I'd say a decent chance we'll get to blast something. They play Azusa's Many Journeys and then miss their land drop. That's rough. Okay. They have the ability to play 2 lands last turn, and they played 0. This is not good. Alright, on their end step, we're going to Impulse. I'm gonna hit the fancy land here. We're gonna hold up all our instant speed action. Alright. That's something that's, you know, strikeable. It's kind of nice that that's strikeable. That is not strikeable, however. You know, there's not really much benefit in me hitting the strike right now. Instead, I'm gonna score big. I'll let the Plaza go. And we hit the Singularity. I like this. I like this. Alright. I'm gonna play this. Followed by this. Yeah, Chandra Hope's Beacon. She's pretty good, turns out. I'm gonna go ahead and add some mana in any combination. And I'm going to strike down the likeness of the Seeker and just bop him in the face. Because sometimes you just need to bop your opponent in the face. Alright. So they definitely had some mana problems. They were off to a little bit of a slow start, and we've made something huge here. So yeah, they have the invasion, which is good, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana at our disposal. Not quite as much as we need right now. Oh, but never mind, we got it. Check this out. I'm gonna go a little avant-garde on this. Alright, cool. I'm gonna set this and one of these back, I guess. Alright. Yeah, Explosive Singularity definitely on top. I'm gonna have Chandra Hope's Beacon. Deal 4 damage to 2 targets. One is gonna be the Topiary Stomper, the other is gonna be our Hidetsugu and Kairi, and yes, I'm sure. Pop, pop. That triggers the combo. Boop. Explosive Singularity, and that's the first spell we've cast this turn, so we're gonna get another one on the stack. So we just bopped him, and we had another 10 damage just sitting on the stack ready to go. Yeah. This deck is fun, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a good time. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. You're awesome. You know who else is awesome? The patrons of this channel. They really help me kind of keep the lights on. It's a huge deal. So thank you so much. And I want to give a verbal, huge, special shout out to the mythic patrons at the $10 level. And that is Angry Jellyfish, Bunyip, Els89, Carl Ligon, Ryan, Vailrith, X of Most Trades, and Yuckfoozy. Thank you so much. Your generosity is more appreciated than you know. And so actually you, dear viewer, for as little as $1 a month can actually have your name added here. It makes a huge difference. I would really appreciate that. And you can see my link tree in the description below. You can actually join up the Patreon over there. Like I said, for as little as $1 a month, and it makes a huge difference. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.